Today, I visited Cris Gamet, a wonderful individual who wears many hats. Not only is she an instructor at the Woodstock School of Art, but she is also a plein air painter. She also has remarkable skills as a farrier and a carpenter. In fact, she built her very own studio. Let's see how she creates her space and art.
Hi, Mimi.
Hi, Cris. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. Come on in.
Thank you.
Well, this studio was a raw space, meaning there was no sheetrock. It was just studs. You know, it was just a basic building. We've lived here 30 years. So it was raw space for a long time, and it became a catch-all for everything that was overflow from the house. Oh, just stick it out there. So it just became a place, a storage unit, basically. And we had the roof redone, I don't know how many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And at that time I said, put skylights in, because I was thinking about, down the road, I would create this into a studio. And, but years went by, I didn't have the money, and one thing led to another. And then one day I just said, I have to do this. I've outgrown my studio downstairs. I need more space. And if I don't do it soon, because I'm doing all the work myself, I'm going to be too old. I'm not going to want to do it, So that's what lit a fire under me. And, I started buying supplies and cleaning the place out, and, one thing led to another. And I wanted, it doesn't look it now, but I wanted a clean space because I was so crammed in my small studio that I wanted a bigger space where I could put things away and I wasn't looking at so much stuff all the time.
Right.
And that worked really well for about 3 years.
Now it's already starting.
And now it's just starting to, consume me again. And I guess the thing is to sell more art. that is really...
That's a really good thing.
That's the real remedy to the whole situation.
Which part of the studio you love the most?
I guess I just love that it's separate. The whole thing, that it's separate from the house. It's my space. It's just a place I can come and play the music I want to play. I can play my guitar. I can, paint when I want to paint, set a still life up, not have to take it down. Right. It's just a personal space. And I am all about space. When I was about 10 years old, I stayed after school for a guitar lesson. I went to a school that was kindergarten through 12th grade. And so I passed by the art room one day, and I looked in, and there was a kid working with the teacher, and he was working on a big painting of a tall wooden sailing ship. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I said, I want to learn how to do that. And I was 10. Since I did a lot of drawing as a little kid, I was very inspired by my older brother. But then in high school, was behind these people in the store, overheard a conversation that an art class was starting, a painting class was starting. So I quickly got myself in that. And there were 3 of us. The 2 people I met in the store, the guy behind the counter at the store, was a student at the Art Students League in New York. So he started this little class. And it was really like, it started in the back room of an art supply store, and it was about an 8x10 room with 3 people in it and a still life. So, it was an intimate setting. On for, I would say, about 7 or 8 months until cold weather hit. Started early in the spring, and it went, we were in a barn. There was no heat. There was nothing. So we ended up stopping, but it lit the fire in me, and then I just kept painting on my own from there. And then I came here in 1980, and I graduated high school in 1977, so that kind of gives you a idea of the time frame. And I moved here in 1980 to study with Frank Alexander in Woodstock. So I studied drawing for 3 hours in the morning, painting for the 3 hours in the afternoon, 5 days a week for the whole summer of 1980.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kept going, you know.
So
I do like to work on location. There's something, there's an energy exchange. I get excited about what I'm looking at, you know, and I don't have to make things up, even though I'm not, you know, recording it
exactly.
you know, exactly the way it is. It inspires me. So, you know, I would just go out and drive around. And if something catches my eye, I pull over and paint that. I don't work from photographs very often. So I really like to be inspired by what I see. It's the light, it's the mood, it's the placement, the spatial connection of objects, you know, how things are spatially arranged. I'm a plein air painter, mostly, but I make things up. You know, I do make things up, but I never thought when I first started I could ever do that. I was leaving the class, and then, all right, I'm leaving class, now what do I do? You know? And I thought, well, you know, they tell writers, write about what you know. So I thought, well, maybe I should paint what I know. And I know the Finger Lakes, I know farm country, I know that's that. And so I just got a canvas out and was just kind of like sketching as I went, like just sketching as I remembered. The farm that I grew up on, you know, I mean, I know that farm, you know, I came up that road hundreds of times, you know, so that's what I started with. And so this painting, actually, this painting right here, I made up. I made the whole thing up, but it's based on where I grew up, you know, so I get the feeling of the way it used to be. You know, when my dad and I'd be driving along in the truck, you know, looking out the window, you know, because all these things to me, I could be in my dad's truck with my dad, and we could be, you know, going off to look at horses and come around the corner and that place is there. And it's funny because of all my paintings, when I take people in and I show them that painting, they go, that's the one. I really love that painting. And I think the amount of love that came out when I did that, you know, probably somehow is connected to the piece.
Right.
There's just something in human beings that we use it to figure things out. We use it to express our feelings about a subject, or it's just a challenge. Can I do this? Can I pull this off? I think for me, it started out a challenge. Can I do it? And then I just took off with it. You know, I just, can I get better? How good can I get? How, you know, and my idea of good, you know, everybody's is different. But I also don't think I'm going to be Rembrandt, you know, even though I make copies of Rembrandts. You know, I can only be me. So I paint, hopefully, the way I would as a 5-year-old kid. You give me a box of crayons and this is what I do. Hopefully, that's what comes out when I paint. And that's different than I started out. I wanted everything to look exactly like how I saw the world. But I also think that I paint now, I paint the subject matter I paint because I'm somehow trying to, I don't know, paint my way home. You know, it's like when I, you know, and I didn't realize this until recently. I was writing a new artist statement and I was looking around my studio and I was sitting here. And I realized, you know, when I grew up, what did I do? I lived on a farm, so I did my chores. I had all the animals that I had to take care of, along with my brothers and my mom and dad. And then I rode my horse. And I rode my horse over the hill to see what was on the next hill, to see around the corner. And all these paintings, to me, all my landscapes, which is mainly what I'm known for, I could be on my horse riding along in that field. And that's what I see. And it just, there's something about and you probably feel this being so far from home. You want to go home. Everybody wants to go home.
Right.
I would like to be, that little kid, but I can't go back there. So I paint, and I paint images that remind me of that. And one cool thing about painting is I could be in prison, and I could paint. I could have all these on my walls in prison, and I could be anywhere. I could be in South Dakota. I could be in Montana. I could be in Delhi, New York.
Right.
You can be wherever you want to be. You can, I think it's a great thing to have in your life. Even if I don't sell another painting, it's like I get a lot of pleasure from looking at my own work. So why not paint?
I'm so moved by the personal experience she put into her art. Artists like Cris have a unique ability to inspire their creations with their own stories. Today's visit inspired me to think, what kind of a story do I want to experience again in my art? Thank you very much, Cris.